A very good evening. You're watching Primetime News on TV1 live and direct from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. Bringing you the news, I'm Jyadardin.
And I'm Shalini Ratnavira. Let's take a look at your headlines for tonight.
The headlines on Newsfirst.
Substandard coal forces shift to Sobha-Danavi diesel plant. A revelation made before the Special Presidential Commission. Opposition splinters further as multiple alliances and solo political paths emerge. SLPP questions opposition's effectiveness amid growing political realignments. SLFP backs GL-led People's Joint Opposition. Public protest confronts MP Archana in Kilinochchi. Cardinal files intervening petition in Suresh Saleh writ case. Paddy farmers' price demands rejected as government stands firm. Government rules out increase in guaranteed paddy price. Messi one win away from World Cup glory.
And on to those stories in detail. In your top story this evening, electricity capacity lost at the Noruchole coal power plant due to substandard coal supplies was primarily compensated through the Karavelapitiya Sobha-Danavi power plant, the Presidential Commission of Inquiry into Coal Transactions heard. The Sobha-Danavi power plant, owned by Lakdanavi Limited, is a subsidiary of Lanka Transformers Limited.
Meanwhile, the Commission also heard that the importation of substandard coal resulted in additional costs exceeding 4.5 billion rupees within a period of just 4 months.
Revelations emerged during testimony given yesterday by the director of the National System Control Centre before the Presidential Commission investigating coal transactions. Evidence presented before the Commission indicated that the Noruchole power plant had been unable to fully meet the electricity capacity required by the national grid, necessitating the procurement of power from alternative generating facilities. Accordingly, the bulk of the resulting electricity shortfall was supplied by the Keravalapitiya Sobha-Danavi power plant during the relevant period. Although the Sobha-Danavi plant was designed to operate using liquefied natural gas, it is currently being operated using diesel fuel. The Commission also heard that the payment mechanism adopted for the importation of the disputed coal consignments has raised serious concerns. According to the evidence presented, payments were made based on laboratory reports issued by the port of loading before the quality of the coal had been independently verified in Sri Lanka. Professor Salia Jayasekara, chairman of Lanka Electricity Generation Private Limited, told the Commission that 80% of the payment due to the supplier had been released based on laboratory reports obtained at the port of loading. It was further revealed that only the remaining 20% of the payment was linked to laboratory reports obtained after the coal arrived in Sri Lanka. The inquiry also heard that significant discrepancies exist between laboratory reports issued at the port of loading and those obtained after testing the coal in Sri Lanka. Samples from the disputed coal consignments were also sent to Bureau Veritas, the International Quality Inspection and Certification Agency, and the Commission was informed that the relevant reports have now been received. According to evidence presented before the Commission, the coal quality findings contained in those reports most closely matched the laboratory test results obtained by the Noruchole power plant itself.
Sri Lanka's opposition bloc, comprising 66 members of parliament from various political parties, is increasingly fragmenting into multiple groups and alliances.
Against this backdrop, questions are being raised about the future direction of the opposition. Both opposition and government representatives continue to express differing views on the evolving political landscape.
Who is most suitable to lead opposition politics?
Recently, a group of 21 opposition MPs announced at a media briefing that they had decided to function as a separate bloc. Meanwhile, another alliance operating under the banner of the People's Joint Opposition and led by Professor G.L. Pires has already begun engaging in active political activities. Dayasiri Jayasekara, who entered parliament through the Samaki Jana Balawegaya, is also aligned with this grouping. The Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, under the leadership of Nama Rajapaksa, has meanwhile developed another opposition platform known as A-Team Next Wave. At the same time, several members of the United National Party are making a determined effort to bring former President Ranil Wickremesinghe back into active politics. With parties, alliances and factions increasingly moving in different directions, questions continue to be raised regarding the future of Sri Lanka's opposition. Journalists posed this question to the Assistant Legal Secretary of the Samagishana Balawegaya.
It is not only the parties within our alliance. All parties are working together, including the Ceylon Workers' Congress led by Jeevan Thondaman. In the plantation sector, Digambaram and Thondaman traditionally operated from two separate camps. Today, even they have come together because of the need to address these issues collectively. Everyone is working together. This is not an effort directed against the opposition leader. He himself has made that very clear.
The Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, however, believes Sajith Premadasa's opposition role has not been sufficiently effective.
විපක්ෂයේ කියන්නේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ඉන්න ප්‍රධාන විපක්ෂයේ කාර්යභාරය සිදු වෙනවද කියන ප්‍රශ්නේ අපිටත් තියෙනවා. නමුත් විපක්ෂයේ සෙසු පක්ෂ හැටියට අපි අපේ කාර්යභාරය ඉතා හොඳින් ඉටු කරමින් යනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ සජිත් මහත්තයා වැඩි හරියට කරන්නේ නැහැ කියලාද මේ කියන්නේ? පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ප්‍රධාන විපක්ෂය මේ රටේ තියෙන මහ ජනතාවගේ ප්‍රශ්න සම්බන්ධයෙන් මේ සිදුවෙන හොරකම් සම්බන්ධයෙන් කතා කරනවා මදි කියන එක තමයි අපේ හැඟීම.
The SLPP Women's Front says Nama Rajapaksa is preparing to lead the country's next political chapter.
When his father was president, we saw motorcycles in villages and households across the country. Many families owned three-wheelers and vehicles. Today, that situation is different, and that saddens me. The son of a leader who brought prosperity to villagers is preparing for 2029. We firmly believe that Nama Rajapaksa will become president in 2029. We believe that under his leadership, all Sri Lankans will benefit through prosperity, economic growth and a strong future. As women, we have confidence in him. That will certainly happen. The lotus is beginning to bloom again. After former President Mahinda Rajapaksa stepped back, women rallied around Nama Rajapaksa. We see that clearly today. Wherever he goes, people reach out to shake his hand. Elderly people call him son. There is remarkable public affection and confidence in him, particularly among women.
The Sri Lanka Freedom Party's position was outlined by its Deputy General Secretary Dr. Suren Raghavan.
It is a positive development that the alliance has been formed. If the opposition has been inactive or sleeping and this alliance helps create a more active opposition, that is welcome. I oppose ethnic identity politics, which is one of the reasons I remain in the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. However, if these groups are coming together to raise public concerns, pressure the government and make demands on behalf of the people, I wish them well. They appear to be working actively. As for us in the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, we are part of the People's Joint Opposition led by Professor G.L. Peiris.
How does the government view these developments? Agriculture Minister K.D. Lalkanta offered his assessment.
They have realized there is no future under the current opposition leader. That is why they are breaking away. Whether inside parliament or outside, the opposition leader has been reduced to a position that inspires little confidence. The other parties aligned with him are no longer convinced about his leadership. The Samagijana Balawegaya itself was formed because its members believed they could not win alongside Ranil Wickremesinghe. Now the question is whether they can win alongside Sajith Premadasa. How many elections have they lost? There is a growing belief among their own allies that remaining with Sajith Premadasa is not yielding results.
මේ වෙනකොට ලොකු විශ්වාසයක් ඇති වෙලා තියෙනවා ඒගොල්ලොත් එක්ක ඉන්න අයට සජිත් එක්ක ඉඳලා වැඩක් නැහැ කියලා.
MP Kanchana Velipitiya of the National People's Power also commented on the situation.
There are only 66 opposition MPs in parliament, yet they continue to break into different groups. Just recently, another alliance was formed. Tamil parties are also discussing the formation of a separate alliance. Then there is Nama Rajapaksa and other members from independent political groups attempting to create another platform. There is also the People's Joint Opposition, which is trying to unite various opposition forces. At the same time, discussing discussions continue between the UNP and the SJB. These discussions have been ongoing for nearly 2 years. The question is whether any of them have succeeded. So far, none of these efforts have produced a successful outcome.
As opposition political parties continue to reposition themselves through multiple groups and alliances, Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca has signalled the start of what appears to be a new political chapter. In a post published on his official Facebook page today, Fonseca stated that he was preparing for the next chapter. Later in the day, the former army commander issued a further appeal calling on supporters to join him in taking the lead towards building a proud nation and a strong future generation. As part of the initiative, a public gathering has been organized in Kegol on the 26th of July.
Strong opposition from farmers was directed at MP Ramanathan Archana during the Kilinochchi District Coordination Committee meeting held today. The farmers' protest arose due to comments made by the MP regarding 2 development projects being implemented for the benefit of the farming community.
The Kilinochchi District Coordination Committee meeting was held under the chairmanship of Minister Ramalingam Chandrasekhar. During the meeting, MP Ramanathan Archana made critical remarks regarding a millet and groundnut cultivation development project being implemented under the Ministry of Agriculture in the Thiruvaiyaru area. The farmers' protest began immediately after those comments were made.
This is the current condition of the coconut and groundnut cultivation project introduced in the Thiruvaiyaru area by Minister Lal Kantha. I have 7 such files with me. How many millions have been spent on this project? Just wait. Furthermore, as part of this corrupt activity, land along the riverbank has been allocated under the guise of coconut cultivation. The Karachi Divisional Secretary has facilitated the issuance of permits, allowing a private individual to acquire 2 acres of riverbank land with the intention of artificially creating flood conditions.
இந்த சிவபூசையில கரடி பூந்த மாதிரி ஒரு கரடி இன்றைக்கு பைத்தியமாக பூந்து விளையாண்டு இன்றைக்கு இந்த
Like a bear entering a sacred religious ceremony, a certain disruptive individual entered today and created an environment that nearly brought this committee meeting to a halt. Baseless allegations were leveled against the district secretary, who must continue serving the people of this area tomorrow. Not only that, this valuable development committee meeting was dragged into an extremely regrettable situation. This is not a court of law. It is not a place for investigations or anti-corruption raids. The conduct displayed by Archana today has provided sufficient evidence for us to take a firm decision regarding similar meetings in the future.
முடிவினை எடுப்பதற்கு இன்றைக்கு இந்த கூட்டம் வலுவான சாட்சிகளை சேர்த்திருக்கின்றது என்றே நாங்கள் கூற வேண்டும்.
Following the intense backlash and a disruption, MP Ramanathan Archana left the meeting. ETEC MP Sivyanam Sridharan, who was also present at the meeting, expressed his dissatisfaction over the developments.
Instead of discussing development continuously, this meeting became focused on the disruptive behavior of a single individual. It turned into a forum where accusations were leveled at every official present. Having understood that this was no longer a development meeting, we have decided to leave.
Former President Ranil Wickremesinghe yesterday held an interactive discussion with a group of young people in Colombo. The event, titled Read with Ranil, brought together youth participants for an extensive discussion that lasted several hours.
During this session, Wickremesinghe shared his views on a number of issues and policy matters, including the proposal to extend the retirement age of judges.
I'm Ramitha Sirivardhana from Sri Lanka Law College. So my question is, There has been a considerable discussion regarding the extending of the retirement age or the tenure of the judges. And what is your view on this proposal, and how do you think it will affect the independence of the judiciary, the public confidence, and the administration of justice in Sri Lanka?
At the moment, there's a big controversy, as you all know, and most of the legal professions have come out against the extension, because extension, you serve for 65 years and they don't want any other extension. It's the government that seems to want to push it. I don't know how much of support there is for it. That's the issue, that from what we can see, even the judges. So how much are you going to risk? And the more government pushes, they may be compromising the neutrality of the judiciary. So it's now up to the government to decide what they want to do. But if they want to go ahead, I think there's going to be more and more opposition to it, both in the political sphere and the non-political sphere. That's what I see.
Questions continue to be raised over the true objective behind the government's proposal to extend the retirement age of judges. Health and Mass Media Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa today offered further clarification.
What
we want is to speed up court proceedings that are causing hardship to the general public. There is a significant backlog of cases in our courts, and many cases take a very long time to conclude. In particular, people are often required to travel to Colombo for matters such as fundamental rights cases. There is a considerable burden on the public in relation to court processes. At the same time, judges themselves are carrying a heavy workload. Therefore, we are working on both fronts. Firstly, we are continuing efforts to recruit more judicial officers. Approval has already been granted to recruit 50 magistrates. So far, interviews have been conducted for 33 candidates, and steps are being taken to make those appointments. We are also recruiting additional court officials. Alongside these measures, a proposal has been submitted to extend the retirement age of judges as a means of providing greater convenience and relief to the public, accelerating judicial processes, and through that, strengthening public confidence in the judiciary. Similar proposals have not been limited to the judiciary alone. A number of sectors within the public service have also proposed extending the retirement age.
Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjith, has filed an intervening petition before the Court of Appeal in relation to a petition submitted by former Director of the State Intelligence Service, Suresh Saleh. Saleh's petition challenges his arrest and detention under the Prevention of Terrorism Act in connection with investigations into the Easter Sunday attacks.
Through the intervening petition, Malcolm Cardinal Ranjith has sought permission from the Court of Appeal to intervene in the proceedings concerning Saleh's application and present submissions before the court. The petition also requests that the court dismiss the former intelligence chief's petition. The matter is scheduled to be taken up tomorrow before a Court of Appeal bench comprising President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Rohanta Besurya, and Justice Priyantha Fernando.
The Colombo High Court today fixed the 31st August for a pre-trial conference in the case filed against former President Mahinda Rajapaksa's son Yoshida Rajapaksa and his grandmother Daisy Forrest under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. The order was issued when the case was called before Colombo High Court Judge Rashmi Singapuli.
During the proceedings, State Counsel Oswald Pereira informed court that the prosecution was seeking a date for a pre-trial conference and requested appropriate directions from the court. The State Counsel further informed court that the prosecution expects to announce its position regarding the second accused, Daisy Forrest, on the next date and also intends to notify amendments to the indictment. After considering the submissions made, Judge Singapuli ordered that the case be called on the 31st of August for the pre-trial conference. The case has been filed alleging that the accused committed offences under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act by depositing more than 59 million rupees into fixed deposit accounts maintained in 3 private bank accounts during the period between the 31st of March 2009 and the 12th of December 2013. According to the indictment, the funds in question could not be satisfactorily explained in terms of their source of income, leading to the filing of money laundering charges against the defendants.
Watch the FIFA World Cup live, where the best football teams in the world compete. Live matches, Rewind TV, highlights, reels. Watch it all for free. Download the Pure mobile app now. Watch the FIFA World Cup live, where the best football teams in the world compete. Live matches, Rewind TV, highlights, reels. Watch it all for free. Download the Pure mobile app now.
The purchasing of paddy for the yellow season is currently underway.
Now, what is the progress like?
And what are the farmers saying?
Let's take a look.
45 paddy storage facilities have been opened across the island, and nearly 203 metric tons of paddy had been purchased through these centres as of yesterday. The highest quantity among these purchases was recorded from the Ampara district.
We are continuing the purchasing of paddy. We hope to purchase nearly 39,500 metric tons as a national reserve. We do not have the capacity to purchase all the paddy from the farmers, nor do we have the storage facilities for it. Our objective is to secure the necessary safety stock for the government. Regarding the private sector, specifically medium-scale rice mills, loans will be issued at concessional interest rates with 10 billion rupees allocated for this purpose. In our recent discussion, mill owners expressed their readiness to purchase paddy at the stipulated price, provided they meet our quality standards.
Paddy storage facilities have currently been opened in the Trincomalee, Batticaloa, Mullaitivu and Ampara districts. Our reporters said that storage facilities have now been prepared to purchase 10,000 metric tons of paddy each. The Madhavachia paddy storage facility was also opened today. This is the current situation at the Uhunapalam Kandavura paddy storage facility.
In the past, when harvests were not being reaped, small farm organizations in the area raised their voices against this. But today the government has opened the paddy marketing board centers. Any farmer can now hand over their paddy without any issues or problems. Certain groups who lost power are trying to regain it, have been staging protests, claiming the government wasn't purchasing paddy and demanding a fair price for the farmer. As a government, we stand firm in our commitment to providing a fair price to the farmers.
Paddy is being purchased at 120 rupees per kilogram for Nadu, 130 rupees per kilogram for Samba and 140 rupees per kilogram for Kiri Samba.
Some people are now demanding specific prices for a kilo of paddy, quoting all sorts of figures. If we were to pay those rates, consumers would end up having to pay 400 or 500 rupees for a kilo of rice. We are not ministers who only think about the farmers. We think about both the farmers and the consumers. The farmer must realize that it is the country's consumers who provide all the subsidies they receive. Therefore, when farmers demand paddy prices, especially while using political slogans, they should think about the people who provide them with fertilizer subsidies, irrigation facilities, various other forms of assistance and the 6,000 rupees given for their children's school supplies. They shouldn't be misled by political slogans. We have made the calculations and that is how we arrived at these prices: 120, 130 and 140. That is the price. We will not allow protests to force high prices. Those demanding 150 or 160 rupees are not realistic activists. It is outside of reality. Those are not genuine struggles, but foolish stunts. Sri Lanka will host the 6th BIMSTEC National Security Chiefs meeting in 2027. The announcement came as Defence Secretary retired Air Vice Marshal Sampath Thuyakunta represented Sri Lanka at the 5th BIMSTEC National Security Chiefs meeting held in New Delhi, India.
India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval met Defence Secretary of Sri Lanka, retired Air Vice Marshal Sampath Tuyakunta yesterday on the sidelines of the 5th meeting of BIMSTEC National Security Chiefs. They discussed cooperation on defence, security and maritime issues. They also exchanged views on regional and global security matters.
BIMSTEC's long-standing goals of regional security, connectivity, capacity building and economic security should continue to drive our collective efforts. Dear colleagues, for India, BIMSTEC represents our vision of neighborhood first, our commitment to Act East policy and the Mahasagar vision, which stands for mutual and holistic advancement for security and growth across regions. As BIMSTEC celebrates its 30th anniversary next year, let us commit to further expand our collaborative potential and infuse new energy and resources towards ensuring regional security. We aim to build institutional capacity and cooperation across our priority sectors. I am certain that our vision and common aspirations, coupled with mutual trust, will continue to result in tangible outcomes.
Speaking at the meeting, Sri Lanka's Secretary to the Ministry of Defence, retired Air Vice Marshal Sampath Tuyakunta, spoke on the need of transforming dialogue into action.
For centuries, the Bay of Bengal has connected our people to create culture and share history. Today, it also connects our common aspiration for peace, prosperity, and sustainable development. Therefore, the security of our region is a collective responsibility, one that can only be upheld through mutual trust, sustained dialogue, and coordinated action. Sri Lanka remains firmly committed to achieving the objectives of BIMSTEC. Looking ahead, our focus should be on transforming dialogue into action. This requires stronger networks for information exchange, greater cooperation in combating transnational crime, enhanced cybersecurity collaboration, coordinated humanitarian assistance during disasters, and continued engagement among our institutions.
BIMSTEC is a key regional organization that was established on the 6th of June 1997 with the signing of the Bangkok Declaration, initially known as BISTEC. The organization is now known as BIMSTEC and comprises 7 member states with the admission of Myanmar on the 22nd of December 1997 and Bhutan and Nepal in February 2004.
Sri Lanka's flagship digital identity initiative is now on the verge of becoming a reality, with India's High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Santosh Jha, announcing that the Sri Lanka Unique Digital Identity project is finally ready to move forward. He made this announcement during the launch of NASSCOM's Disha mentorship program in Colombo.
NASSCOM officially launched its flagship Disha mentorship program in Sri Lanka, marking the first time the premier Indian industry body has expanded its flagship mentorship initiative outside of India. High Commissioner of India to Sri Lanka, Santosh Jha, announced that the Sri Lanka Unique Digital Identity project is now ready for implementation.
Our flagship project of collaboration, the Sri Lanka Unique Digital Identity project, is finally ready to take off the ground. There are, of course, a few remaining steps to be taken before a formal announcement will be made. Friends, in our experience, it is not merely a technology project. It is a nation-building project. When every citizen has verified, trusted digital identity, something very fundamental changes. Social inclusion stops being a policy goal and becomes a practical reality. For Sri Lanka's innovation economy, SLUDI is the foundational layer that makes everything else possible: fintech, e-commerce, digital government services, etc. The second aspect pertains to artificial intelligence. It is changing how businesses are built, how they scale, and how quickly a small team can compete with a much larger one. No country, and certainly no single company, is figuring this out alone. The technology is moving fast enough that the only sensible response is to keep talking to each other, sharing what is working, being honest about what isn't, and learning in the open. India and Sri Lanka have deep talent pools in the space.
Also speaking at the event, Deputy Minister of Digital Economy Eranga Weeraratne emphasised on the gaps faced by Sri Lanka's SMEs.
Sri Lanka does not lack talent. We have capable engineers, creative founders, and also firms that can build excellent products and services. What we often lack is the bridge between technical capability and the commercial scale, between building a solution and building a company, between winning a first customer and winning a new market, between working hard and knowing what to work on next. A program such as Disha can help to build and bridge this gap. Let me briefly acknowledge what is being launched here today. Disha is a structured mental-led initiative by NASCOM that connects technology SMEs with industry leaders who are much experienced in this economy. Its deeper value is in helping founders diagnose real business challenges, set priorities, make better decisions, and act with greater confidence. For Sri Lanka, this matters because our technology SME ecosystem faces several gaps. First, there's strategy gap. The second is the market access gap. Thirdly, the management gap. The fourth is a technology and innovation gap. The fifth is the networking gap. So what should our SMEs seek to achieve through Disha? Not simply series of interesting conversations. They should seek tangible progress, a clear growth strategy, a stronger business model, better pricing, a sharper go-to-market plan, improved governance, new customers and partnerships, stronger leadership, and measurable moments toward exports and scale.
The program is a strategic initiative designed to empower small and medium-sized enterprises or SMEs by connecting them with seasoned industry experts.
A community-driven initiative to address plastic pollution and waste management challenges along Sri Lanka's southern coastline was launched in Galle.
A community gathering and working session held under the theme Building the South Coast Plastic-Free Coalition, The Ripple Effect, took place in Ahangama, focusing on the growing challenges posed by plastic waste, rapid development and sustainable tourism in the region.
I started the ripple effect because I think that it's necessary for people to come together and realize that the responsibility is really ours to take care of the planet. And if we just keep pointing fingers in blame and we say we cannot do anything, nothing will get done and the problem will get a lot worse. So I think it's really necessary for people to realize that, you know, we're not in this alone. We can build a community together and do a lot of change from grassroots level as a community where we are working together towards change.
The Ripple Effect initiative is built on collective participation, encouraging individuals and organizations to contribute ideas, share knowledge and work together towards reducing plastic pollution across the South Coast. The coalition aims to create long-term environmental benefits by promoting responsible waste practices and strengthening cooperation among communities, businesses and other stakeholders.
Thambapani Academic Publishers hosted the Indian Ocean Writers Residency in Bentota, exploring new ways of presenting history through fiction and creative writing.
A writer's residency exploring the relationship between history and fiction concluded yesterday on Sri Lanka's western Indian Ocean coast, bringing together writers and academics from different fields. The Indian Ocean Writers Residency 2026, themed History and Fiction, History as Fiction, was hosted by Thambapani Academic Publishers in Colombo in collaboration with the Max Weber Forum for South Asian Studies, New Delhi.
What we have here is with Thambapani Publishers has arranged and some other sponsors. And we have 11 writers from around the region, well actually around from further afield too, from Pakistan, from India, from Bangladesh, from Kashmir, from Sri Lanka, and across from Australia and the United States, who've all come here to work on different projects that are all connected to the idea of history and narrative, which is the idea of bringing history in its broadest possible sense to a wider audience. They are working on projects which range from retelling of the Jatakas to contemporary to Radio Ceylon during the 1980s and to this day. And we also have people working on projects dealing with Urdu poets and lost film stars.
What we tried to do is to bring to Sri Lanka a group of who can write, who can produce a work of fiction or works of fiction based on the ways in which how they might deal with something of the past. Talking about the past, with mythological past too, or it can be part of your own life. Now, what is important here is that we have given people complete freedom to write, but also to train.
The residency, which took place from the 9th to the 15th of July, aimed at exploring how history can be interpreted and reimagined through fiction, while creating a platform for writers to examine the connections between memory, storytelling and the past.
Former President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, President's Council Salia Piri, stressed the importance of safeguarding democratic institutions and constitutional principles, warning that even governments elected through free and fair elections can pose a risk to democracy if their powers are left unchecked. He was speaking at a book launch in Colombo.
Democracy needs to be defended, sometimes from the very leaders who are elected at an election. An election, however free and fair, may not guarantee the protection of democracy or stop them if they overreach. The temptation will always be to believe that this time concentrated power will be used wisely, that leaders can be trusted with fewer checks because their cause is just and their intentions pure. Every democracy that has slid backward believed exactly that, right up until it could no longer reverse course. Sri Lanka's experience is that governments that win with large majorities are still governments that can be wrong, that can be tempted by their massive majorities, that can mistake a mandate for a blank check. The history of Sri Lanka has shown that democracy and institutions have faced their biggest challenges at the hands of governments with large parliamentary majorities. This brings us to the importance of constitutionalism. The idea that power, even power that arrives through the ballot box, must be limited by the principles of constitutionalism. The entire purpose of constitutionalism is to protect us from that very temptation, including from ourselves and from even leaders we may like and admire.
The launch of the book Constitutional Conversations by President's Counsel Dr. Jayampati Vikramaratne took place in Colombo.
Sri Lanka, like most countries in the Commonwealth, is a common law country. The common law countries are distinguished by their reliance on judicial precedents and judge-made law, which evolved through case-by-case reasoning rather than comprehensive codification. This tradition emphasizes flexibility, judicial independence, and the adversarial process. In common law countries, the legal community therefore has a vital duty to critique judicial decisions, as precedent-based systems rely on ongoing scrutiny to ensure fairness, coherence, and legitimacy. Without critique, judge-made law risks stagnation, bias, whether institutional, personal, or doctrinal, or detachment from evolving social values. A critique is a structured, analytical evaluation of a work, idea, or situation that highlights both strengths and weaknesses, aiming to provide constructive insights rather than mere fault finding. It differs from simple criticism by being more formal, balanced, and evidence-based. Critique ensures that precedents are tested, refined, or overturned when they no longer serve justice. It often inspires legislative intervention when judicial precedent proves inadequate. Critiquing judgments trains lawyers to think critically and equips them to argue for doctrinal change. Transparent debate reassures citizens that judicial power is exercised responsibly. Critique allows courts in different common law countries to learn from each other's reasoning.
Today marked day 34 of the Phase 3 excavations at the Chemmani Sindupati mass grave.
Excavations at the Chemmani Sindupati mass grave site proceeded today under the supervision of Jaffna Magistrate S. Lenin Kumar. According to attorney V.S. Niranjan, 6 additional human remains were identified today.
Today, 6 new human remains were identified, bringing the total number of identified sets of human remains to 420. Of these, 7 were cleaned and excavated from the human burial site. Based on the excavations, 416 sets of skeletal remains have been exhumed so far. Additionally, 130 pieces of evidentiary material have been numbered and exhumed.
Watch the FIFA World Cup live, where the best football teams in the world compete. Live matches, Rewind TV, highlights, reels. Watch it all for free. Download the Pure mobile app now. Watch the FIFA World Cup live, where the best football teams in the world compete. Live matches, Rewind TV, highlights, reels. Watch it all for free. Download the Pure mobile app now.
Weather first.
The El Niño effect was discussed extensively as a condition that could severely affect Sri Lanka.
Bringing us the details on this and more with the news is Onelka Amratunga. Onelka?
Yes, thank you, Chalani and Juad. Now, the Director General of the Department of Meteorology, Ajit Wijayamanna, has warned that Sri Lanka could begin experiencing the full effects of the developing El Niño phenomenon from August, with the possibility of significantly higher temperatures across several parts of the country.
Sea surface temperatures in the central and eastern Pacific Oceans have now risen above normal levels. As a result, many countries around the world are already experiencing the impacts. Sri Lanka is also being affected. At present, the eastern province, parts of the northern province and areas such as Bandaravela are experiencing high apparent temperatures felt by the human body. The probability of this El Niño developing into a very strong event between October and December has risen to around 80%. If we consider its impact on Sri Lanka, we could begin to feel it strongly from August. This means temperatures are likely to increase. We expect rainfall conditions to improve towards the end of September. During October and November, rainfall is likely to be above normal. If the El Niño remains very strong, we expect rainfall to decrease during the first quarter of next year from January to April. The probability of a very strong El Niño has now reached a significantly high level.
Now, taking a look at the latest weather forecast, the Department of Meteorology has issued an advisory warning of strong winds affecting several parts of Sri Lanka. According to the department, light showers may occur in the western Sabaragamu and northwestern provinces as well as in the Kandy, Nuwara, Galle and Mathura districts. However, most other parts of the island are expected to experience predominantly dry weather conditions. Now, the department further warned that strong winds with speeds ranging between 40 to 50 kilometers per hour could occur at times in the northern, north central and northwestern provinces as well as in the Mathale, Hambantota and Trincomalee districts.
Thank you, Anelka. A total of 72,430 dengue cases have been reported in the country so far this year.
The National Dengue Control Unit stated that 1,195 dengue patients were identified within the past 24 hours. Meanwhile, the Stop Dengue Now, the National Dengue Control Program, continued today.
Stop Dengue Now, the National Dengue Control Program, continued in the Western Province for the 9th consecutive day today. The program is organized by the Maharaja Media Network, led by Newsfirst, in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Mass Media, focusing on the Colombo, Kalutara and Gampaha districts. The team touring the Colombo district conducted public awareness programs on dengue prevention today in the Ambulgama area of the Homagama MOH division. Meanwhile, the team touring the Gampaha district visited Vattala today. Another team from the Stop Dengue Now National Dengue Prevention Program toured Panadura in the Kalutara district.
On to news overseas, Tehran warned today it would target regional infrastructure if the United States carried out threats to attack Iran's infrastructure. Early in the day, Iran said it carried out drone attacks on US military bases and facilities in Jordan, Kuwait and Bahrain after the US completed a new wave of strikes on Iran.
Tinal Tilakaratna is ready to bring us the latest developments.
Thank you, Jawad and Chalani. Now, hopes of a lasting peace deal between Iran and the United States are fading fast following a week that has seen consistent exchange of fire between the two sides. Now, the US resumed its blockade on the Strait of Hormuz, firing at a ship that attempted to breach it. For its part, Iran retaliated by launching strikes on US allies, including several Gulf countries such as Jordan, Kuwait and Bahrain, where projectiles believed to be of Iranian origin were spotted. But how is this new escalation affecting Sri Lanka?
As geopolitical tensions in the Middle East reach a critical juncture following recent escalations between the US and Iran, the safety and livelihoods of over 1.5 million Sri Lankans working in the region have become a primary national concern. Chairman of the Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment, Koshala Vikramasinghe, addressed the Bureau's emergency response measures and the current status of migrant workers on the ground.
Also, we are fully aware and fully engaged to be supported the Sri Lankan community. We herewith kindly request the Sri Lankans there that to be not to be panicked, be patient, that anything happen in there for your misplacement of your employment or misplacement from you will displace from your working place. Just please notify to your nearby embassy that or your family members can come and report to the bureau in Battaramulla that we will take serious action to be establish your well-being in Sri Lankan as a foreign migrant, that you everybody aware. Also, we will be there with you for forever post requirement. You can call our 1989 number, and in case of you are required to contact your bureau for to facilitate you in any service.
Inspired by the brilliance, leadership and vision of Lionel Messi, the reigning world champions produced another trademark comeback to defeat England 2-1 in a pulsating FIFA World Cup 2026 semi-final in Atlanta.
With the victory, La Albiceleste marched into a second consecutive World Cup final, moving within one win of football immortality while shattering England's hopes of ending a 60-year wait for a place in the biggest match in world football. Onil Kamaratunga tells us more.
Lionel Messi's Argentina have booked their place in a second consecutive FIFA World Cup final, edging past Harry Kane's England in a gripping semi-final at the FIFA World Cup 2026. The tournament's second semi-final unfolded in Atlanta, United States in the early hours of today with more than 68,000 fans, creating a spectacular World Cup atmosphere for one of football's greatest rivalries. Now, despite the intensity and quality on display, neither side was able to break the deadlock during the first half as both teams went into the interval locked at 0-0. England struck first 10 minutes after the restart, putting the Three Lions within the touching distance of a long-awaited FIFA World Cup final appearance. Now, just as they had done throughout several matches in this year's tournament, Argentina remained patient and resilient, refusing to panic even as the clock ticked towards the final stages. Now, their breakthrough finally arrived in the 85th minute when Enzo Fernandez found the back of the net after an expertly crafted move orchestrated by captain Lionel Messi. Argentina then delivered the knockout blow deep into the stoppage time when Lautaro Martinez finished clinically to seal victory and spark wild celebrations. A defining feature of both Argentine goals was the influence of Lionel Messi, whose vision, movement and leadership proved decisive on football's biggest stage. The Argentine captain once again demonstrated why he remains one of the game's greatest players, controlling the tempo of the match and guiding his team with remarkable composure and tactical intelligence. Although Messi entered the contest as the tournament's leading scorer, the superstar appeared more focused on elevating the performance of those around him rather than chasing individual glory, embracing the role of creator and leader as Argentina pushed towards another World Cup final. With a dramatic 2-1 victory, Argentina secured a qualification for a second successive FIFA World Cup final and move one step closer to remaining football's most coveted prize. For England, however, the defeat brought heartbreak. The Three Lions saw their dream of reaching a FIFA World Cup final for the first time in 6 decades come to an end despite a spirited performance. The FIFA World Cup 2026 final between Argentina and Spain is scheduled to kick off at 12:30 a.m. on the 20th of July at the New York Jersey Stadium, where the world will discover its next football champion. Football fans in Sri Lanka will have the opportunity to watch the FIFA World Cup 2026 final between Argentina and Spain live on giant screens at Golface Green in Colombo. Ahead of the final, a special musical show featuring the legendary Flashback and popular artists including Bhatia and Santosh, Kanchana Anuradhi and Dinesh Gamage will entertain spectators. We invite football enthusiasts to gather at Golface and be part of a unique World Cup final celebration combining football, music and entertainment. Meanwhile, France and England will meet in the third place playoff on the 19th of July at 2:30 a.m. Sri Lankan football fans can watch both matches live on Sirasa TV and TV1, the licensed broadcasters of the FIFA World Cup 2026 in Sri Lanka.
And that's a wrap up in news for tonight.
Thank you for watching. Good night.